Well, I'm sure you will all agree that this was a wonderful message from Lawrence. And it's always hard to come after him, so I will not attempt to make another speech, just cover a few points. But Lawrence's announcement of his forthcoming retirement really starts a transition process for the leadership of our organization. It would take all morning or more to go over all the accomplishments of Lawrence over the past 15 years or so. So I will not attempt to do that, but I can tell you that we are already preparing other events at which we will recognize him, recognize his accomplishments, and express our gratitude. Let me just say this morning that without Lawrence, I don't think ICS would exist today. I don't think we would be attending this conference. Lawrence wanted to leave it to me to announce that I will also be retiring at the same time as he will from the position of Vice Chairman of the International Churchill Society, which I've held for the past 6 years. So over the next 12 months, Lawrence and I will transition our responsibilities to the 3 new Vice Chairmen that Lawrence just announced. And while Lawrence has been providing the leadership, the vision, the energy that make ICS what it is today, my role has been more modestly focused on the organization and trying to put together an organization that will be viable going forward. So going back just a little bit, the International Churchill Society in the UK was founded in 1968. The National Churchill Museum in Fulton started in 1969. Sometime thereafter, the Churchill Center was established in the US. And when I was senior fellow of the Churchill Museum back in around 2013, 2014, it became very obvious to me that having 2 independent and often competing Churchill organization in the United States would not be viable for the future. So we started working on bringing the Churchill Center and the Churchill Museum together. It was a somewhat complex process because the constraints were that, of course, the Churchill Museum belongs to Westminster College, so we couldn't really do a full merger. But we gathered together the members of the Churchill Center, the Association of Churchill Fellows, the Friends of the Churchill Museum, who all became members of a newly incorporated International Churchill Society in the US. Then over the past few years, we have been then trying to bring together more closely the US side of the ICS and the UK side of the ICS. And while we have to maintain 2 separate legal entities because those 2 organizations operate in two different countries, we are more and more trying to run ICS internationally on a global basis. And the chart that you're looking at here shows the way our organization looks today. So on the left, in that shade of red, you see the US side of the organization with the International Churchill Society in the United States and our 2 US organizations, of course, the American Churchill Museum in Fulton that most of you visited yesterday, and the National Churchill Leadership Center in Washington, D.C. at George Washington University. On the right, you have the UK side in green, with Lawrence, of course, being chairman also over there. Scott Johnson was recently appointed vice chairman of, and Scott is here today, vice chairman of ICS UK. And then underneath in the middle, you have the 2 governing bodies that really attempt to run this organization on a global basis. So there is the International Council, which I'm chairing, and will continue to chair throughout, maybe not the whole transition period, but part of it. And as you can see, it's made of members of the boards of the two sides, the UK side and US side. This council meets once a month by video, and one of the benefits of the COVID crisis is that it has showed us that you can really work by video conference. And this was always a challenge for non-profit organizations to gather their boards or their governing bodies with members spread out around the country or around the world. Now we have a very efficient way of working by video, and our council, again, meets once a month. Underneath on the chart is the operating committee. That's where the work really gets done. It's led very efficiently by Justin Reich. And you see the members. They are the people. David Freeman, who of course is the editor of the Finest Hour. John Olson, who is doing IT and marketing for us. Tim Riley, of course, running NCM. Andy Smith, the executive director, who is here as well today, of the International Churchill Society in the UK. And Catherine Carter, who runs Chartwell. Of course, we have no direct influence of or direction over Chartwell, which is part of the UK National Trust. But the presence of Catherine on the operating committee really helps very good coordination between the activities of our organization and Chartwell. And we show on the chart as well the Churchill Archives, of course, led by Alan Packwood, who has worked very closely with ICS for many years, and the War Rooms and the Imperial Museum, with which we are also working closely on several programs, such as the preparation of the 150th anniversary of Sir Winston Churchill in 2024. So, sorry to bore you with those organizational details, but it has been a lot of work to get to the point where we are. And I wanted you to know that we now have a very solid and efficient organization that will allow ICS to carry on with its mission for many years to come. So thank you very much. I hope you will enjoy this conference. And I'm now going to ask Candice Millard to kick off the conference itself. Thank you very much.